Hi everybody, Jennifer Ferguson here with Artistic Painting Studio. And as promised, I'm back with the next step of my project. And this time it's a little bit more exciting. I'm actually going to be showing you guys a technique which I refer to as wet blending, wet distressing. So you can at least have a little bit more excitement today instead of just watching me paint and chatting. So please share with me, tell me who's on here. Hi, Colleen. Nice to see you today. Say hi. I want to just get to know my community here a lot better and know who's on and joining me. So that would be awesome. Okay, so we're back to the actual hutch again. And as you can see, I started to do some stuff, so it looks really kind of funky right now, but I wanted to get started so that I could show you what I was doing on this last side, and then areas are dry enough that I can take you on to the next step. So just to kind of recap everything, and I'm going to see if I can let you guys see inside there so you can see all the little back panels too that have been completed. So just total recap, the back panels of all the shelves are done in my hammered metal look, and that was done with my ostrich roller, using that with my texture medium to get the actual texture itself. And then from there, that was painted with Modern Masters, I think antique copper, and then also they've all been glazed. And as I had shared with you guys yesterday, none of these edges are smooth anymore. Everything has a texture. Not all the wood actually meets. There's gaps. So cutting that straight line down into all those sections is just going to be challenging. So I'm still kind of playing with what I'm going to do on that. But yesterday we just had a little fun chat day and just kind of shared, and it was just fun having everybody just chat among themselves even on here. But this is the DIY paint. Let me grab half my can here. Okay, so this is by Debbie's Design Diary. It's the DIY paint. The base color is Old 57. And then where I'm going now is, again, DIY paint, and this is called Mermaid Tail. So I wanted two colors that had some contrast for some interest and depth, but also colors that are going to blend well together. Because when they get wet and I'm blending them, they're going to make another color. Okay, so you got to make sure that when they start to blend that you're definitely creating a color that you're going to like. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at. Okay, I've got everything behind me, so I keep turning around. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so I've taken my paint and just thrown it out on a foam plate, and I've got a squirt bottle here full of water, and I'm just going to give it a little squirt just to kind of reduce the paint a little bit, just water it down a little bit. I don't want it completely watered down, but I think it just kind of brushes on a little bit easier this way, because we don't need a ton of this color. The more that you brush on of this color, the more you have to work in the wet blending to begin with. So once I've squirted it and watered it down a little bit, just kind of wiping my brush off on the sides so that I don't have too much paint on here, okay? Because like I said, I don't want a ton of paint. And I'm going to change this angle so you guys can see. And oops, kind of got squirt marks here already, okay? And truly, I'm just haphazardly just brushing this on. No true rhyme or reason to it, and as much of the second color as I want to see, and making it pretty much look like crap, okay? Looks like somebody didn't know how to paint at this point, okay? And I've always found that when I'm working with any kind of a chalk style type paint, I'm always more successful with my techniques if I allow it to thoroughly dry before I go on to the next technique. So how much color you put on here is completely, up to you. You can see through the whole hutch that I've already gone through and done the painting everywhere so that I could easily go on to my next step for you guys. The other thing, and hopefully if I kind of come down right here, you guys can see the difference between when the paint is wet and the paint is dry. They kind of look like two different colors, so I always encourage everybody when working with a chalk paint to do a sample and let it completely dry so that you can see the difference in the color, okay? Because it does make a difference from that wet to dry state, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go on to the fun part and try to make this absolutely beautiful, okay? So I'm going to turn the camera down here so that you guys can see. Okay, I just got to take a peek here, make sure you can see what I'm going to be working on. So I'm going to be working on this top section here, okay? And that way you can see. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to be working with, again, my big old bottle here of water, and I have cheesecloth, okay? So these are my tools. And I'm just going to read here real quick. Oh, thank you, Chanel. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate everybody that shares the videos. It's so cool to be able to reach other people that maybe I would not have reached on my own. So I always appreciate you guys hitting your share buttons. Okay, so when I'm doing this, okay, and I can't really see my screen too well while I'm doing this, okay? So I'm just going to squirt the whole surface, okay? And then I'm going to squirt the cheesecloth also. And then I'm just going to rub back and forth over this area and blend the colors together. Now, I like doing the soaking the surface first, because what I found is if you wet the whole surface, it allows it to just kind of soak in and soften the color, okay? And so when you come back to do your distressing, it's much easier to get the colors to blend and work together, okay? And you can remove as much or as little as you want. You know, it's a personal issue at this time of how much of the second color you want to see. My main objective is to blend them together so you can't really tell maybe which color was actually painted first and which color was painted second. And, you know, if by chance you take off more color than you want it, it's just as easy to come back and brush either color on that you want, okay? So if I feel like I've taken off too much of that second color, I can come back and just brush a little on there while it's wet, okay? And blend that in too as well. So it's just a finesse thing at this point, I guess is the best word to use. And just determine how much you want of each color to show. Now I've got 2 coats of the Old 57 on here. So I'm hoping that I'm not going to break through to the primer, okay? So that's why I like to actually do my wet distressing really wet, because I feel like I've got ability to rub more on here and not break through to the next color. And you guys, I want you to know that I've got my camera straight down so that you can see my hands working and not me. So I cannot see your guys' comments at all right now. So forgive me for not interacting with you guys as much as I used to always try to do. But I'll definitely read through and answer all your guys' questions when I'm done with this, okay? So I really want to leave a soft color, okay? Let me see if I can move this a little bit more so you can see me working on the bottom section. Okay, let's get down here and squirt this too. Oh, and you guys can see I finally laid this piece of furniture down so that I could get in here and work a little bit easier, and then other than it was standing up on the side, okay, which was challenging to get into all the cubbies. So I definitely finally got this moved yesterday with a little help, because it is a very, very heavy piece. So again, you know, it's a personal thing. And yes, even though these are shelves and they're going to be full of stuff and books, you know, I'm doing every section here. I'm even going to do the top underneath. You know, somebody shorter than me might be able to actually see up there, okay? So I like to make sure everything is done with every technique that I'm incorporating, okay? That way it's just a complete piece. So this is just one of those things where you just continue to work each area, and I'm going to keep working a little bit of this and get into areas that you guys can see. So just to kind of recap, I have the 2 coats of Old 57 on here, and those were, the second coat was at least dry overnight. And then I've just taken the mermaid tail, which is my contrasting color. Okay, let's see if I can move one more thing here and get you guys in a better angle so you can continue to see what I'm doing. So the mermaid tail, I watered down a little bit before I applied it so that I didn't have to work so hard in the blending, okay? And you know, some people like to leave still some strong contrast, and sometimes I just like to leave just a little bit of color here and there. Again, I like it being one of those things where I'm trying to fool people on figuring out which color actually went first, okay? So once the paints were completely dry, so this was completely dry because I did this ahead of time before I got on here on live, okay? So I lit the mermaid tail completely dry, and then once it's dry, I'm squirting the entire area with water so that it really wets the surface and allows you to blend very easily, okay? And that's all I'm doing, okay? So fun and simple little technique. This is exactly what I did on the cabinet section of this piece of furniture that it's going to be matching. So this is what I'm going to do here for the next, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes maybe. I'm going to come back. Oops, oh my, I almost missed that stool, okay? It's a big bucket and I missed it. So I'm going to play around with this and continue to work on it. And I think after this, I'm going to have to maybe look at my notes and see all the different things I've been doing. But I believe I glazed. So before I glaze this piece, I've got to seal the whole thing. This is chalk paint on here, okay? So it's a chalk style paint, and they're very, very porous materials. So I cannot directly glaze on here without sealing it first. So once all my wet blending is all done and I'm happy with the way it looks, I'm going to put a full layer of top coat on here. Probably just use my final coat because it's a wipe-on varnish and they'll go quick. And then I'll come back and glaze. And oh, maybe I foiled first. I don't know. I have to look, okay? Because I know I'm going to go ahead and do some more foiling on the sides with the stencil again, just to coordinate the 2 pieces. So I'll have to look, see if I foiled first or foiled last. I think I probably foiled first. So we'll be on till the next part here soon. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this technique. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.